Someone
So
has to do the segues. Puzzle's been doing a puzzle.
Right?
No, I finished it. Yay! I was stuck on
All
that
right.
one for ages.
so what happened with the Clintons?
I don't know. You tell me, man. Something about a reporter.
I was waiting. I thought Puzzle did.
Oh, yeah.
This journalist wrote a book, and the Clintons didn't like it.
She said that very puzzled.
Playing up to her name.
So that's
they did what they
another
needed.
thing that. So again, this is all conspiracy theory, right?
Tinfoil hat time.
Everybody's heard the conspiracy theory about the Clinton body count, right?
Yeah.
So that
Epstein
Hillary
didn't do it.
Clinton and Bill Clinton run the biggest mob in the world. That's the theory, the conspiracy theory. So they so a lot of people believe they killed Epstein. The whole premise behind the Clinton body count is that for some reason people who are associated with the Clintons usually commit suicide at a younger age, right? There's I think the official count is like 56 people that were attached to the Clintons have committed suicide. Some
that
explain,
include-
some not.
Does that include the reporter who talked about the elite hiding their money in the Panama Canal? Like expose the whole scheme?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you'd have to go down a giant list. Now,
And they're still hiding
some
their money
of
in the
them-
Panama Canal. That hasn't stopped.
Some of the people on the list have very close ties to the Clinton. Some have very obscured. You're just like, that's questionable. But for the most part, it's all a little too much coinciding for me, right? I don't think there's that much coincidence in the world.
Yeah, I know. When's is a coincidence?
50 times is a oops.
Definitely agree that Epstein didn't kill himself. I'm just not like, I don't know about the whole Clinton conspiracy. I'm just kind of like, I don't know.
So this journalist, he recently wrote a book in the last couple of years. I think it's been 5 years since he published the book, but the book started getting a little more popular over the last year and a half. And so the whole book was about, at the time in 2016, the Attorney General of the Obama administration came to a tarmac, went on a private jet, had a 30-minute, 40-minute conversation with Bill Clinton, got off the jet, and then the plane took off. So there's a lot of speculation of what it was talked about, what was going on. But at that time was the whole Clinton email server. That whole thing was going down.
That's right, her private emails.
No, not her private emails. She had government
emails.
She was running her Department of Defense email through her own private email server.
That's what I meant, yeah. I got you.
And then she destroyed 30,000 emails that were technically government property.
This guy, Peter Smith, he wrote a book about the whole email debacle, and it started gaining traction last year. And then what? So why now?
Yeah.
That's where it becomes questionable about it being tied to the Clintons, right? Why? So 5 years after he published the book, why would he kill him, or why would they take him out? But again, if you subscribe to the theory, it's not hard to believe the Clintons wait for the perfect moment, right?
I mean, anything could be apples and oranges, right? Like you can compare you can link anything to anything, like by any manner of deduction.
Yeah, the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, or 6 degrees.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Right. I just I think that the manner that he passed away or quote unquote committed suicide is sketchy, because he it was like in a hotel room, and it was apparently a very peaceful way to go, but he left a note that said something along the effect of no foul play or something to that degree. And
Sus.
yeah, it's super sus. It is super sus.
I just want to point to my Among Us character. Like, that is very sus. If I were gonna kill myself, I wouldn't leave a note saying there was no foul play.
So yeah, he
Like-
left behind 3 small children and a wife.
Something along the lines of, this is one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make, but not be like, don't worry, guys, totally my choice. No foul play here.
Yeah.
Blink twice if you're in danger.
It sounds like a load of horse shit.
We can take one of the millennials' headset. Whose headset would you take? Like headphones?
Everybody should pick Peaches. He's the actual, like, he has the real setup.
The real nice ones.
Yeah,
We
I got
all
the
have,
Arctic
like-
5.
We made it work.
My computer won't turn on Bluetooth anymore, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, why now?
Yeah, that's
Why
the big
5 years
question.
after his book? Is it like, so his book started getting traction last year, and so maybe is it something that's in the book that could point to them, or somebody connected the dots on something and didn't
Yeah.
really pay attention to it when it first came out?
I mean, so one theory was that he had an insider, right? Feeding him information, and he was there's a chance he could be working on a news story, or he's bringing light onto a situation that if looked into, it could go into a lot deeper for them. So there's a lot of little issues that could happen. Again, he could have just been sad and upset with his own life. I mean, that it's totally possible that it's not foul play, as
Yeah.
the note said. But then again, you know, we don't have the biggest trust in media lately.
It's also true.
But what media can we trust?
Disney Plus.
Especially millennials.
Hey, make sure to subscribe.
So, Crazy, you were talking about a really interesting theory before we started recording about an extended adolescence.
So it's been floating around, right? But again, so this week or last week, there was some guys on Fox News, and they made the comment about AOC and how she's suffering from extended adolescence and refusing to grow up, right? And so they were making some comments about her, but it also got me thinking, like, maybe there is some truth behind what they were saying. Just for the simple fact, name a friend. Don't actually name a friend. Don't dox anyone. But you can name a friend who at the age of 23 was still living with their mother.
Oh.
Or their father or their family. Right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it, right? But at the same time, to understand that it is taking our generation a little longer to mature to where our parents were at that age, right? When my parents were 25, I can tell you, like my dad, when he was 25, he already had 3 kids and a house.
Can you imagine that at 25? Like, that has me shook right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong with the way we're doing ours, but if you do think about it, one way I've been looking at it is, if you notice, our grandparents have been a lot older than their parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way our generations are going, our generation had a huge step in technology and medical tech, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that millennials could live to be 120 is not out of the question, right? And if you even look at our parents, look at pictures of your grandparents to when your parents are at that age, right? Or look at pictures of where you are compared to your parents. It looks like humanity is evolving to age a little slower. So, would that
Yeah.
not make sense that adolescence would then be extended?
We're turning into hobbits and halflings little by little.
Well, you also have to take into account that, yes, we may be, I guess, aging slower, but the biggest difference is, and it all comes back down to some of the stuff we've said earlier, is minimum wage and how much you can get with $20 then compared to now. Like, you could get a lot more with $20 compared to $20 now in the year 2021. Like, inflation has been a big thing, and I think that's why we're not really, I guess, moving out of the house as sooner. And I felt that may have been an insult to AOC, because Fox is always targeting her.
Well, I mean,
in
but
regards
then again,
to
she's also she, but that's like, I'm not trying to slight her, or that's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah, I got you.
If
I'm
you,
thinking.
yeah,
Mhm.
if she is a very immature person, right? As elected politician, she's known for the clapback. She has to have the last word. When she went down to the border and cried at a fence to an empty parking lot, I mean, I've been to that same facility, so I know where she was standing. She was standing at the facility, but she was at like the first gate when you got to get through like multiple gates, right? But like everything is for show or dramatic, right? So
Mhm.
just taking the fact that she reminds me of the popular girl in high school, right?
Ah.
And so, not to slight her, but at the same time, it's like you can see that she might get mature one day, right? And kind of get out of the naive ideas that she has. But at the same time, it's just taking people longer to understand that those ideas are kind of naive and there is a bigger picture that you have to play into.
I can agree to disagree with you on that. I do agree and to an extent, but not fully. But
Yeah.
I can see it in terms of Gen Z, right? Like Gen Z in particular is very different from millennials, extremely different from Gen X, and of course the polar opposite of boomers. And the way that Gen Z, they said millennials were the anxious ones. Well, Gen Z is just as bad, if not worse. I think that we can see that extended adolescence, especially in Gen Z. And when you talk about naive viewpoints or not really thinking bigger picture, I could totally see that in our next generation because things are easier because of technology, because of our medical advancements, and there wasn't really that struggle point there. Like we remember the time where we drank water out of a water hose, and we had to be home by a certain time or call from a friend's house phone. Like we remember times like that.
Mhm.
Gen Z's never gonna have that. Like everything is instantly at their fingertips, and I feel like that is gonna contribute in some way to a lack of maturity. So I definitely think that what you're saying has a lot of substance to it,
Yeah.
for sure.
And I mean, even look at just like buying a house in general for, millennials especially. It's a lot harder for us because we've already seen the housing crash of 2007. So bankers, they aren't giving out as easy time of loans, mostly because we're not making the money in equivalence to what they used to, what they needed to. So you even see like our popular TV shows, New Girl, How I Met Your Mother. People are living with roommates until their early 30s.
Yeah.